Welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. Today I'm going to do brisket burn-ins. And normally when you do brisket burn-ins, you buy a whole brisket and just cut off the point and do the burn-ins out of the point. But I was able to find at my local grocer, I was able to find just the brisket point. They sell these separately and they're choice grade. It wasn't cheap, it was like $4.68 a pound or something, but it was just the point, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do brisket burn-ins. So I'm gonna get this out of the package and we'll get it trimmed up and we'll get going. Okay, I got the brisket point out of the bag. If you take a look at it, it's actually trimmed up pretty nice on the meat side. I don't think I'm gonna have to do a lot. There's a little bit of waxy fat right here. You always want to get that fat off that's waxy, that looks like candle wax, and try to get that off. But there isn't too bad on this side, on the fat cap side. I'm gonna just try to trim this down to about a quarter inch of fat. And you know, for those of you that do your own processing and stuff, this fat is really good if you make your own hamburger. So you want to use a real sharp knife when you're doing this because the fat will get slimy. And I always do it when the brisket's really cold because the fat's a little firmer. If you do it when it's warm, it's going to be gooey and gummy and it's going to be hard to cut through. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and I will see you in a sec. Okay, I got it all trimmed up. I got just shy of a pound of trimmings off of it, which isn't too bad. You know, normally when you do a brisket, you're gonna have a pretty good percentage of loss in trimmings. So the next thing I'm gonna do is season this up. And all I do on my briskets is salt and pepper only. And you know, you're looking at, this is probably 8.5 pound piece of meat now, so you're gonna have to put a lot of seasoning on it. Make sure you get it down in the nooks and crannies. Let it rain. Don't be afraid to put some salt on there. Get the edges. Okay. Flip it over on the fat cap side. This is the part that the command staff here at Big Nick's Meats and Treats loves because she loves salt all over the kitchen. That's her favorite thing. She loves that. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is coarse ground black pepper. I'm using a butcher's blend here, which is like a 16 mesh. For those of you that can find that in your area, I actually get this at my local grocer. It's kind of a specialty grocery store. They carry this butcher's blend black pepper. Go ahead and tap it in to the meat a little bit. Get it down in the nooks and crannies. Get the edges. And like I said, this is an 8.5 pound piece of meat. So you might think you're over seasoning it, but you're really not. And this is going to give that great bark. This is what they call just Texas style. This is just salt and pepper. You know, I'm not using any other seasons, but salt and pepper. I'm going to cook this on the Kamado grill today, and I'm going to run probably around 250 degrees, and I'm going to use oak. I'll be using B&B charcoal with chunks of oak, and I'm going to try to run it around 250 degrees, and let's get this smoker fired up. All right, I'm getting ready to fire this up. I'm using those B&B charcoals and some Kamado lighter cubes. And I just use this cheap $5 propane torch to get the lighter cubes going. Get a little bit of flame on there. We got the lighter cubes going now. I'll probably let it run for about 15 minutes or so. And then I'm gonna put my oak chunks in there and let it start warming up to my target temp, which is gonna be 250 degrees. It took about 45 minutes to get the Kamado up to temp. This is my Louisiana Grills K24. I'm at 250 right now. We're gonna go ahead and get this brisket on. I put a drip pan under there to catch the drippings. And I'm gonna use my thermopro temp spike to measure the temperature. So that'll tell me the meat temp and the ambient temp. And I'm probably gonna leave that on there till it gets to about 165, and then I'm gonna wrap it. So we'll see in about 4 hours. It's been almost 4 hours and our internal temperature is at about 165. So I'm gonna take the brisket off. Ooh, look at the color on that thing. I'm gonna take the brisket off and I'm gonna put it in this foil pan here and then cover it with foil. And I'm gonna let it finish cooking wrapped. And this is gonna help me save the juices for when I'm make the burnt ends and make them nice and tender. So I'm gonna put this back on now and let this cook probably to about 205 degrees, and then we'll cube them up and get them sauced. I'll see you in a bit. All right, we got our point off the smoker and it looks and smells fantastic. Just take a look at it, really good color on it. And now we need to cube this up for burnt ends, and there's still a little tiny bit of the flat on here, so I think I'm going to separate that and we'll just use that for French dips or whatever later on. So I'll take that little tiny piece of flat off. Set that aside. And I'll slice that later and we'll use that for French dips. If you haven't had brisket French dips, you're in for a treat. Okay, now what I'm gonna do with this, because it's still really hot, I just took it off the smoker, I'm gonna just try and slice this real carefully into like 1-inch cubes. So get a real sharp knife here, and we're gonna do 1-inch cubes. Oh man, that looks great. The smoke ring on this thing's fantastic. I mean, just take a look in there. It's so juicy and tender. It looks really good. And now I'm gonna turn it the other way and get our cubes. So nice and slow. Good sharp knife. Those look great. I think I'll leave those. Ooh, it's hot. Got to wear some really good gloves when you do this because it's hot. Okay. Cut this down. Then I'm going to take these bigger pieces and put them into smaller cubes so they're more like bite-sized pieces. You don't want anything in here too big, so make them all bite-sized pieces. About 1-inch cubes is what we're looking for here. Okay, now I'm going to put it back in the pan that I had it cooking in. Oh, I gotta cut that one. Actually, I'm gonna wash my hands up real quick, take these gloves off, and get my sauce out, and then we'll get ready to sauce them. See you in a minute. I got some of my homemade sauce that I made earlier today. You can use whatever your favorite store brand sauce is if you want to do that. I'm gonna use some of my homemade sauce here and put that in with the juices from when I cooked it, and then put the cubes in here. Ooh, it smells good. Put the cubes in there, and then I'm going to kind of roll them around a little bit. And then I'm going to put some more sauce on the top. Take the basting brush, put on that on there. And now I'm gonna put these back in the smoker again, probably for about 20 minutes or so. I want that sauce to caramelize and really adhere to the meat. So probably 15 or 20 minutes, so we'll see you in a bit. Well, I just took these off the smoker after having the sauce on them, and they look and smell fantastic, and we are ready to dig into these things. I just can't wait to take a bite of one of these. They just look amazing. Ooh, that's a heart attack waiting to happen right there. Stop me now. That's so good. If you got a brisket point and you want to make some burn ends, easy way to do it, good way to do it. I got to tell you, I've been doing so much barbecue over the winter, it's about time for me to go on my summertime diet. So I think my next video is going to be smoked lettuce. Just kidding. Until I do another video, give us a like and a subscribe if you like what we're putting out. And until I see you next time, watch me work, baby. Watch me work.